Welcome back to the band guide. I'm your band guy, Colin, and today I have another quick mastering trick for you to help you get a smooth top end. This is really a powerful trick if you have a brightness that you like, but occasionally it's just a little bit too harsh. And that's what I ran into with the song that I've been mastering here. I like the overall high end, and it's generally not too harsh, but every once in a while there's just something that's a little bit grating, especially when listening to it against other professionally mastered songs. Another reason that referencing is so important, especially mastering. But I like the overall high end. I don't think it's constantly harsh. If you have a constantly harsh high end, then this isn't the trick for you. You probably just need to do some more general EQ work. But if you have occasionally a harsh high end, but you like the overall brightness, then this trick can do wonders. So in order to do this trick, you need a spectral processing plugin. And as far as I know, there's no DAWs that have these built in. So whether you're in Logic or GarageBand or wherever, you'll likely have to pick one up unless that changes at some point in the future. And in this video, I'm using one called Smooth Operator by Baby Audio. This is a great plugin and it's fairly affordable. The most popular version of this is one called Soothe 2, which is also excellent. I think especially if you've never done any spectral processing, Smooth Operator by Baby Audio is a great option because it's just a little bit more affordable and there's a few less options, so it's a little bit more intuitive. So let's quickly just do a 60-second rundown of what we have in this plugin so that you know what you're looking at here. So this is a frequency balancing plugin. So it's an EQ essentially. So we can see 20 hertz all the way up to 20,000 hertz the same way we would on any EQ. And the idea here is that you set this threshold, this white line, and it is going to address like a dynamic EQ, kind of like compression built into an EQ. But you can get super granular where if something ever gets too loud, a frequency ever gets too loud, this plugin is just going to knock it down at that specific frequency a little bit more. And you can adjust how specifically it's addressing it with this focus over here. So if it's really accurate, 100% like I have it here, really focused, then it could be as little as just a single frequency band. If you have it really wide, then it's just going to be turning down the whole mix anytime anything triggers it. But generally speaking, for mastering, I'm going to be on this higher end here, maybe even 100 like I have done in this mix. So that's a quick 60-second or less rundown of this plugin. Let's see what we're actually doing with this plugin. So let's listen to a little bit of this song with this plugin disengaged. It's bypassed right now. And notice how some of the S's on the vocals and some of the upper jangly guitar parts and keyboard parts just have a little bit of a harshness to them at occasional points. Check it out.
And I'm told if I'm unsure, someone will take care of that.
That's enough to get an idea. So it's not constantly harsh. Generally, it has a nice, bright upper end, but it's not too harsh all the time. So if it's too harsh all the time, again, I would be addressing that with general EQ, but it has a good top end. So I really just want to address those harsh frequencies on the vocals and on the guitars when they happen to be too harsh. And that's what this plugin allows us to do. So I'm going to engage it. And what you'll see up here is up in this upper area here, you'll see little white lines appear, and that's indicating that it's turning down some frequencies. It's detected frequencies based on this threshold that I've set, and it's turning them down just when they get to be too much. Check it out.
And I'm told if I'm unsure, someone will take care of that.
So you'll see very, very small, right? And that's the whole idea with mastering. We want to be subtle with our moves in mastering, but it's just taming a little bit of that harshness, which allows me to maintain that upper end while it's still being smooth and silky feeling as opposed to kind of harsh and grating. So let's really quickly set this because it does not take long to set. So in default, it just is a line that goes all the way across. If I play a little bit here, anything that's passing this line gets turned down a little bit. So at its starting point, it's kind of turning everything down, especially my low end, which I'm happy with the low end in this song, so I don't want it to do that at all. I'm going to start by bringing up this point here, which is just the general threshold for the whole line. And And then I'm also going to bring this point up here so it's ignoring the low end. Now it's not turning the low end down at all. Still starting to get triggered just a little bit here around 500 hertz, so I'm going to bring that up just a little bit more. Now, if you're addressing harshness, that's generally going to be up in this range from here up. A lot of times it's really 2K and above. It can be a little bit lower, but generally speaking, kind of 2K and above. And we can sometimes see where it's happening on the analyzer here, like the T's and the S's we can actually see. Check that out here. And I'm told if I'm unsure, someone will take. So you see the T's and the S's are spiking up right here around between 5 and 10K. So I can zero in on those a little bit. And then you can also just see occasionally it's somewhere around 2K. And I'm told if I'm unsure, someone will take care of that. Especially right here with this little instrumental part. Somewhere in there is what we're going to focus on. You can also use the solo button here to listen to specific frequency ranges. And that can help you identify as well, especially if you have a lot of things going on in the mix. So all I'm going to do now is just bring down this point here until I'm triggering on the things that I kind of identify as being harsh. So this plugin can do the work for you, but you have to do the work first of identifying what is it that's too harsh and kind of when is that happening. And then you're using this EQ, this dynamic EQ, spectral processing EQ, to turn down specific points when you know that it's sounding a little harsh to you. And I'm told if I'm unsure. So right now it's not catching those S's at all, so I'm going to bring this down lower so that 5 to 10K range is getting caught. And I'm told if I'm unsure, someone will take care of that. Just a little bit more, so it engages just a little bit more. The more it's catching, if I'm lower here, it's going to turn it down more, right? And I'm told if I'm unsure, someone. And then, as I said, I do like for it to be a little bit more focused when I'm mastering, so it's really just turning down the frequencies that it needs to be and nothing else. If I turn this way, it turns down everything. Let me bring it down here. And we'll turn down kind of everything as it gets triggered. And I'm told if I'm unsure. And that's not what I want. I want to really be zeroed in on the things that are bothering me. So I'm going to turn it up to 100 here. And I'm told if I'm unsure, someone will take care of that. And again, I can pull this lower and we'll see more happening. And you start to hear it dig into that guitar, and now I'm losing some of the good parts of that guitar, right? So you got to be really careful with this because you could ruin a good mix with this. But with some subtleness, you can definitely bring out, shave some of that harshness off while maintaining the high end, because it's only going to be turning down when it's turned down. Sounds obvious, but it makes sense, right? It's not constantly turning down like a typical EQ would, and it's not only going to be turning down at a specific frequency range like a typical dynamic EQ would. Okay, and one final thing that's really important to note is that this only works if you have a good mix to start with. If your mix is unbalanced and isn't sounding great to you already, then you're not going to fix it in mastering. You need to get your mix right first, and I want to give you something to help with that. If you've been struggling to get a mix that sounds great, I put together a 6-step checklist that walks through the 6 steps that all professional mixes have and how you can do them wherever it is you're making music, whether that's in GarageBand or Logic or anywhere. It's completely free from link in the description below. It's really going to help you out. It's actually the process I followed to mix this song. It's the process I follow to mix any song, whether it's rap or rock or hard rock or country or southern rock. No matter what it is, I'm following that same 6-step process. So be sure to pick it up from the link in the description below. It's really going to help you out. And let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Smooth Operator? Is this a plugin you want to try out? Have you tried any spectral processing before? Have you even heard of it? I hadn't heard of it until just a couple years ago, but it's a pretty cool tool. Let me know in the comments below if this video is helpful. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week with another video.
One thing at a time.